and welcome friends, family, and those of you I yet to meet. My name is Davida Moodley, and I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm also a counselor, and I teach seminars, and my entire life is dedicated to helping people achieve their potential, live their best life, and create the most loving relationship they can with themselves and others. And I'm really grateful that you are able to join me tonight for the first seminar of our series, Cultivating Conscious Loving Relationships. Tonight we will be discussing what a conscious loving relationship is, what that looks like, and how you would go about creating that. So first of all, let's look at what is it about us as human beings that drives us to want to be in relationships. There's a deep, powerful drive that has so many of us really wanting one thing, and that's love. And that is the most beautiful thing about being a human being. Despite all the pain and suffering we see in this world, everything is an expression of love. And sometimes that's a cry for love, or sometimes it's a giving of love. But we all wish to be loved, and that's really the point on which we can connect on. And that's why I wanted to teach a seminar. In a world where we are seeing so much division and so much hatred, it's so important that we each take responsibility in creating a loving relationship with ourselves so that we can take that relationship and project it into the world and teach others how to be loving towards themselves and really create a more peaceful, harmonious world we live in. So without further ado, let's talk about relationships. So what as a human being makes you have the desire to want to be with someone? And there's something very beautiful about this, and this goes beyond the idea of evolution and Darwin's theory of the species needing to survive. I think we all know, anyone who's loved someone knows there's something inexplicable about the power of love. And that is that love can break all boundaries. Love is altruistic, love is kind, love is patient, love is compassionate. And this profound nature of love cannot in any way be described in any way by physics or chemistry because it's just so beyond anything we can truly comprehend. So when people want a relationship, what they're saying is, I want to be loved. I want to be seen in all that I am and all that I am not. I want to be known in my vulnerability, in that naked light of the truth of who I am. And I want you to embrace me always for that. And that's that beautiful, deep connection we seek in another. And there are so many ways love has been projected in our society. And we have the whole Hollywood idea where love is a roller coaster and it's full of ups and downs and pain and regret, but then you get together and there's passion and there's drama. And of course we've all had that obsessive, crazy, compulsive love, you know, the one you can't get over but not sure why you're there either. And we've all been there, and that's a very normal part of, first of all, societal conditioning, cultural conditioning, and personal conditioning. And that's kind of what we're going to be going over in the series. What conditioning is it that creates the way we have relationships? What is the power of this? And that's what we will be focusing on, because the power of this conditioning is actually the power of your subconscious mind. And the good news about this, despite whatever your history may be with relationships, is that you are highly changeable. Your brain is the one organ in the body that is constantly able to change and responds to thought, responds to changed thoughts, changed beliefs, changed actions. So we're going to teach you how to change the beliefs that perhaps in the past have created relationships you don't want. So first, let me give you the characteristics of a conscious, loving, and passionate relationship. So you know there's something to look forward to, and that's going to be our goal and our journey. And I am so grateful that you will join me on this and that I can be of assistance in any way. this is the path I took myself. This was my path to transformation. I went through many relationships that were not the best, but they definitely were signposts. They were teachers. They showed me the way. At the time, I might not have had that awareness, but I bring that awareness to you now so that you're able to cultivate that awareness and use it for your transformation. So this is what a conscious loving relationship looks like. The first characteristic is that each partner has a high level of awareness. And this means that each partner knows that they are responsible for the world they create. They understand that their mind is indivisible from reality. This is a lot of kind of what you see in the Law of Attraction, The Secret, a lot of the New Age books, motivational books, and these are all great theories, but we need to understand how this works and where the actual power of this is coming from. So when you recognize that you create your world, you understand that your partner is simply a reflection of your internal beliefs. So we take responsibility for how we feel, what we project in our partner, and we never blame. And that's very empowering because we're no longer in a situation where we're saying, I don't know what to do with this guy. I don't know what to do with this girl. This relationship is useless. There's nothing I can do to change this, because you are the only one that can change, because you create everything you see and you also create your partner. So the first thing is we recognize we're responsible for our relationship 100%. Number two is that we celebrate our partner's victories, the successes, the things that they've achieved in their lives. When they reach their potential, we encourage them to go further and further. We are their greatest fan because we are in what you would call a mirror relationship. You see that your partner is actually a dynamic reflection of yourself. And a mirror relationship is very, very powerful because you recognize that when you look at your partner, you are actually looking at a reflection of your beliefs, your emotions, your patterns. And if you are in a conscious loving relationship, this partner is someone you honor and you respect because they are providing you the foundation for alchemy, for complete transformation. So you recognize your partner as that, and so you celebrate everything about them. And of course, the third characteristic is, like I said, the mirror relationship. When you look at your partner, you look at yourself. Instead of blaming them, you say, hey, what belief do I have in myself that I need to change so that I change what I reject in the world? So your partner provides a place for you to see all that's beautiful about yourself, and it provides a place to see your shadows, the things you've pushed away and you've repressed. And that partner is going to say, I love you for all you are. Because you know who else loves you for all you are? You do. Because that's what it means to be in an aware relationship. You do not reject any part of yourself, and you do not reject any part of your partner. The fourth factor of a very aware relationship is a childlike, creative playfulness. And it's very important that we have this. This is the ability to laugh and joke and really enjoy each other's company and the lighthearted nature of life, because this provides a fluid experience. It allows each person to transform in the relationship because it's a creative expression of reality. So we have that playfulness, we have that fun essence because we don't take things that seriously, because we know everything is constantly changing. And the fifth factor, and I don't know how some of you will feel about this, but it's really important, is the physicality. That means, what is your sexual chemistry? How often would you like to have sex under optimal circumstances? And we're going to combine this with something very potent, and that is vulnerability. What happens when you bring sexual attraction and vulnerability? That gives you the ground for complete transformation. So this is what a conscious loving relationship looks like, and it's a joyful experience. It's a beautiful experience. And what we love about this is that this is completely possible. This is completely within your reach. And, you know, maybe at one time, if someone said this to me, I wouldn't have been so sure about it as well. But I'm here to say I've taken the path. I'm still on the path. I'm a work in progress. But I'm here to work with you guys too. And I'm here to say that this works. You can get there. There is a way to get out of what seems like fate or destiny, or which is the destiny you don't want. But there's a way to get through this. And I'm here to teach you how to do that. So without further ado, let's talk about the other side. So if we're not having a conscious, loving relationship, what are we having instead? And what that would be is an unconscious relationship. You might call this a karmic relationship. This is a relationship where we're just working out of sub-psyche. So that means that everything you learned, all the associations you grew up with, all the definitions you absorbed from your environment as a child, that's what you take as reality, okay? So with that, what we see is we have relationships that do not match our ideals. And I'm going to show you a diagram here right behind me of what this would look like. I'm going to tell you how the subconscious mind works. And the subconscious mind is my specialty as a hypnotherapist. I teach you how to use the most powerful part of your mind to create the reality you want. So I hope you can see this. I'm going to try doing a little diagram here. I am no artist, so do my best. And can everyone let me know, how is the sound? Are you able to hear me? If anybody can comment, that would be really awesome. Thank you, you guys. So this is a subconscious mind. The small portion up here is your conscious mind. We're going to say that's 10% of your mind power. Okay? Then in between, we have something called the critical mind. Okay? And here we have 90% of the mind, which is subconscious mind. This here, this portion, is the most powerful part of your mind. Most of us don't know we're using it because it feels as if everything comes from our conscious thinking. But that is not true. Your conscious mind is simply informed by your subconscious mind. Great, thank you guys for the sound. That's awesome. You guys are the best. Okay, so this guy down here is telling you what to do, from the way your heart pumps blood to the rest of your body, to all the automatic functioning, to your behaviors, to your habits, to your beliefs, to your thoughts. Very little is coming from the conscious mind, okay? What the conscious mind does do is this. It offers you decision-making, analyzing capacity, willpower, and I think that's about it, okay? So these are very important things because you are able to use this mind to change what's going down here, okay? Subconscious mind is your habits, your sense of identity, and this is very important. Identity means your roles, all the roles you played: mother, sister, father, son, worker. Every role you ever played is here. And these roles come with their own belief systems, and so basically here we have archetypes. We have the stories we tell ourselves, everything automatic. Basically, this is your blueprint for reality, okay? It's your blueprint of reality. It's very important that everyone understands this. When I first was told this, I was a little bit skeptical because I was under the impression that I was very consciously and actively creating my blueprint for reality every day. But then, on closer inspection, when I looked at my life and my relationships and my career, I noticed something slightly unusual for a person that was so active in creating their reality. There was a lot of the repeated patterns. I was seeing the same things. I was seeing different relationships that were very similar. I was seeing different jobs that were very similar. Things were ending and beginning in the same way. It almost seemed like, I don't know, I was a little bit in the matrix here, that I was not as in control as I thought I was, bottom line. Which was a good thing, because I realized if I'm not in control, then where are all these events and relationships coming from? And that's where they're coming from. So for our purposes, for this course, I'm going to teach you the most important thing about this. You have your blueprint of reality here, and you have your relationship template. Okay? Forgive me for the drawing. I'll definitely be working on this. Now, your relationship template forms between, very early childhood, I would say up to 8 years old. But as a child, neuroscientists have found that you have mirror neurons in your brain. So you basically mirror everything you see in your direct environment going on between your parents or your primary caretakers, and that becomes your reality of relationships. It doesn't matter so much if you don't like it, or you don't approve of it, or it's not really what you want. The subconscious mind's not interested in that. Subconscious mind just understands knowns and unknowns. So knowns are all the experiences you have during childhood, okay? Unknowns are all the experiences you don't have. So let's say on the good end of how the subpsyche works, it says, okay, I've had a very stable home. My parents were in a loving relationship. They've been married all their lives. I was very supportive, and I was cultivated. My passions and my dreams were really, everyone was enthusiastic about them. And so I became a well-rounded individual, okay? That is how this is supposed to work on the good end of things, okay? So we have these known associations, and I'm sure you've met people like this, and they're very enviable because they just seem to have it together. There's no drama, there's no big issues. They have a beautiful relationship, a beautiful family, and they're just lovely people to be around, and that's a wonderful thing. But for many of us, this is not the way we grow up. This is not the world we live in. We live in a world, I think in America right now, where the divorce rate is 50% or higher. So we're not growing up in a situation where we're seeing our relationships come into fruition into old age, okay? So when that happens, something else happens here. Even if we see a negative relationship happen between our parents or between whoever our primary caretakers are, the subconscious mind takes it as a known association, okay? That's the first thing it does. The next thing it does is it says whatever's known is pleasurable. And pleasurable means this is safe, I survive this, I know this, and so I am going to repeat this experience because, hey, this is how I made it through the world. Why would I try anything unknown? Unknown is dangerous to me, okay? So that's the reason we have relationships that many people might say, what is wrong with you? Why are you in that relationship? Why would you choose to be with a person like that? And if you don't have an understanding, a good solid understanding of subpsyche, you'd be like, you could just use your willpower, decision making, you could analyze and criticize and understand you're making a bad choice, so don't make it. But it's not that easy, right? For all of you who have been in a hard relationship or destructive or abusive relationship, you understand the pain and the strife of knowing something is bad for you, but continuing along that path and that agonizing sense of loving someone, okay, who isn't good for you. So that's how your subpsyche works. It just wants to recreate the world you once experienced. It wants to recreate block for block everything you've seen, from your relationships to your financial future, and it will do so in one of many ways, okay? So for relationships, I'll give you an example. if you have a person who grew up in a situation where one parent was absent, okay, and they had a sense of perhaps being abandoned, that might not have been the actual circumstance at the time, but they felt abandoned as a child because a child doesn't have the processing to understand that, you know, mom wasn't in the space to be in our lives at that time, and she was going through A, B, C, and D, or dad wasn't in the space to be in our lives, so they had this, that going on. It just, the child only turns that blame on themselves and says, something must be wrong with me. Mom or dad left me. I'm abandoned, okay? That is the first definition they create for themselves. That's the first belief system. Under I'm abandoned comes all kinds of other beliefs they might come to through thinking as a child. And those thoughts could be, I'm worthless, I'm unlovable, okay? Something's defective, something's wrong, and these obviously, these thoughts and these belief systems, these core beliefs get stronger and stronger, especially when we have things like abuse happen during childhood, where the child isn't able, with their brain functioning at that time, to understand anything differently. Okay, so that's what happens, and it just largely depends on how you grew up. Now, I have to add in here that this is a very empowering theory we teach, and in no way are we blaming parents or blaming our upbringing. We're taking complete responsibility. All we're trying to say is that at the time there were patterns, okay? Your parents had patterns from their parents and their conditioning. It's intergenerational dysfunction is what you call it, okay? And they repeated those patterns over and over again, and nobody caught it. So we're not blaming anybody. We're just saying, like, hey, let's stop the cycle now. If you want to stop the cycle now, how can we do that? Because it seems to have a life of its own down here, right? And that's not true. This is where we use something called hypnosis, okay? Now, hypnosis, for many people who don't understand it, I felt the same way when I first heard about it, is a scary idea. You like, oh, are they gonna make me cluck like a chicken, dance like a, I don't even know what you say, but whatever it is that people say, they ask me that. Can you control my mind? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I do understand where you're coming from because I thought the same things. But hypnosis is just a focused state of concentration. It's similar to the meditative state where we guide you into a deep state of mental concentration where you're completely cognizant and conscious the entire time, but you're able to break through this. This is a critical barrier. The critical barrier forms, I would say, early adolescence, about 13 years old. And the function of the critical barrier is to say, all of this is reality, and anything the conscious mind wants to do when it goes into the world needs to match this blueprint, okay? So the critical mind functions as the filter to experience. That means that if something you do consciously matches your subconscious mind, then it goes. If you try to do something different from what you've learned, it rejects it, okay? And it does so as a safety mechanism, just to keep what it knows going. That's all it does. So just think of your subconscious mind. It can be really primitive in a way. It just wants to keep you safe. And safe is a word I would use lightly, because safe just means we're going to just repeat the experiences you had already, so you don't go into the vast unknown, okay? So let's talk about the example I used for a child whose parent had to leave when they were young, okay? Now, what does that look like? So the child starts to have the belief that I'm abandoned, something's wrong with me, I'm not worthy of love, okay? And then they form what you call our defensive behaviors. Defensive behaviors are the ways we try to protect ourselves from the fear. The fear has now become, I will continue to be abandoned by anyone I love, okay? So to protect ourselves from that fear, we have these behaviors, and behaviors could be being emotionally unavailable. That means I'm in a relationship with you, but I'm going to keep myself safe. I'm going to keep you at a distance because you don't leave me, okay? You're not going to leave me because my fear is you will leave me. So I keep you at a distance, okay? That's the whole emotional unavailable thing. It's not that the person doesn't want to love, it's just that their subpsyche is so terrified of what might happen that it keeps people at bay, which is ironic because your subpsyche is the one that's choosing people that will abandon you at the same time. It's a catch-22. You get hurt either way, okay? So when you have this complex of being abandoned, you form defensive behaviors. Like we said, you could be emotionally unavailable, you may cheat on people, or you might go to the opposite end and you might become very clingy, needy. You may refuse to take care of yourself. You might think you need someone to complete you. That's the other end of abandonment. It's both the ways you felt as a child. It just comes right up as soon as you enter relationships. So many people find themselves in the situation where they're like, I was so in love with this person and they left me and I don't know what I did wrong. I did everything. But when you're in a very subconscious territory and you don't understand what's going on with your mind, you are very bound to have behaviors that will result in your fear, which is the fear of being abandoned, okay? So let's see what happens when your conscious mind, like let's say you had the fear of being abandoned and then you got out of that relationship and you were really destroyed. So you said, hey, like, let me be more cognizant. Let me choose a nice girl or guy who wouldn't abandon me, okay? The conscious mind is trying to use its analyzing skills, decision making abilities to meet someone better for you. So what happens? So nice girl or guy comes along, okay? And now you're gonna put in a really big effort to make it work with this guy. They seem like a good person, they seem to really like everything about you, and they want to be with you, and there really aren't any red flags, okay? So you go on a few dates with them, and there's one thing you notice. There's no spark, is what you may say to your friends, okay? So that's where it's already beginning. And why do you think there's no spark? Is it because something's wrong with this nice guy or nice girl? Or is it because the spark comes from your subconscious programming, okay? Because if you grew up with chaos, drama, absent parent, if you meet a nice guy or nice girl who says, hey, I'd like to be with you, I'd love to spend my life with you, that is going to send your subconscious mind into turmoil, and it is going to do anything. It is going to go to war with your conscious mind, okay? And this is really how it goes. So you continue to date the nice guy, the nice girl, you don't feel the sparks, you're already starting to do what? Pull away, become emotionally unavailable, maybe date other people, okay? Those are your defensive behaviors, okay? Eventually, your subconscious mind does something so alarming, so destructive, that you either terminate this relationship with the nice guy, the nice girl, or this nice guy, nice girl walks away from you, okay? Now what can that do? That can just reaffirm that, hey, relationships don't work out for me. Not that kind of relationship for sure, not a nice one. Or number two, look, I'm still always abandoned. So this is how, that's one example of how your subpsyche will continue to perpetuate these patterns. So an exercise I would love you guys to do, and maybe we'll go over it next time, is go ahead and do what I call a relationship inventory. This simply means that from the most significant earliest relationship, go ahead and make a list of those relationships, okay? That's the first step. Then tell me how long they lasted, okay? What went wrong with each relationship? What went right with each relationship? How you saw yourself in that relationship, how you saw your partner in that relationship, and eventually why it came to an end, okay? So I want you to go through right from the earliest relationship that was, very deeply intimate for you to current or present, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're going to look at the relationship inventory and we're going to start to look for patterns. We're gonna look for repeated belief systems, and we're gonna see, what are you playing out? What beliefs do you continue to play out over and over again that result in you eventually feeling a certain way about yourself. And that way is a core belief, which is not true. It's not inherently true. It's just what you want. And for many who have had a lot of difficulties in relationship, that there's often the core belief that I'm unlovable, I'm unworthy, I'll never find someone, I'll be alone, okay? And that's painful. That's really painful. But I'm here to tell you that's not true. The essence of who you are is the most beautiful and most lovable thing there is, okay? And I'm going to show you how to recognize that yourself. And it's very possible, and it's never too late, and it doesn't matter how old you are, and it doesn't matter how much time you've invested. You are so worthy of love, and not any kind of love, the most beautiful, powerful, transformative love, and never settle for anything but the less. And what we're going to do here is this. We're going to make your subconscious mind right now, it all depends on where you are. Your subconscious mind can either be your foe, your enemy, or your friend, okay? And what I want to do is help you make your subconscious mind your friend. My subconscious mind is mostly my friend these days. It's still, we still have some difficulties from time to time, but I'm highly aware of everything going on in it. And it took time, it took investment, it took a lot of work, it took a lot of looking, it took a lot of pain. But that was beautiful pain. That was the fuel for transformation. And I learned a lot about myself by simply turning inwards. So much of what's happening with relationships is that we're running away from ourselves. And we think unconsciously that there's someone out there in the world that can complete this, that can make what was painful better, okay? And that's not true, because you're looking at the only person in the world that's going to make what was painful better. You have the recognition, you have the power, and you will have the skill set to heal. And your partner is going to be a reflection of that. Instead of unconsciously projecting a partner that is a reflection of your inadequacies and your pain, we're going to change that up. That no longer has to be the case. Even what you believe to be true and unchangeable, and it has been your story for so long, that story can change, okay? And that story can change here. What we're gonna do is, we're not gonna clean the slate, okay? That's an exaggeration. However, we're going to put things in your subconscious mind that you would prefer to have, okay? So it's okay. You've learned some things that are not benefiting you anymore. You have some sabotaging behaviors that you recognize now. You have some roles and identities that perhaps are no longer valid or no longer good for you, okay? And everything in here can be changed. And not just changed. I want to use the word alchemy. You can turn this. You could turn this into pure gold, okay? So what we're going to do here is, the kind of work we want to do is, we want to question these beliefs, okay? We want to dispute these beliefs. We want to understand where they came from, how they came to be, and we want to come now from a compassionate, wise perspective and say, looking at the belief now, okay, once we've found out where that belief has come from, is this valid? Is this true? Does this serve me in any way? Okay, and we change it. And this is true for relationships. Okay, if you've observed relationships growing up that were painful, okay, and that did not exactly project what you would prefer for yourself, it's okay, because now you have the capacity to recognize that, and you can recognize with compassion instead, okay? You can see that perhaps your parents were just conditioned like you are, and they were in no capacity. They did not have someone to guide them, to show them differently, and they did the best they can. But do you need to carry that belief system forward with you? And I understand it can seem hard, and I can understand that these beliefs try to fight for their survival. But the way we come at these beliefs is we don't attack them, we don't repress them. We do something very different. We come at them like an old friend, okay? I want you to think of all these things as friends that have been abandoned, okay? All these beliefs, all these parts of yourselves. They've been pushed aside and they've been sent away, and they're crying out for help, and they're crying out for help in all the things that are wrong in your life, okay? So instead of turning away from these things, turning away from these parts of yourself, I ask you to turn toward yourself, okay? Turn towards the beliefs that hurt, and ask them, what is the function of believing this anymore? Let me ask, can somebody give me an example of something they're struggling with right now? If anyone's willing to volunteer, if not, that's completely fine. I'll make up one. But if there's a belief you'd like me to work with, I'd be happy to help anybody. You can put it in the comments section. But if not, it's completely fine. You can email me later, and I'll definitely be willing to go over that with you. But I'm going to show you how to work with belief systems that are no longer rational or valid, okay, and that are hurting your life, okay. And okay, great. Thank you so much, Ursula. Opening myself up to dating again. Perfect. Okay. So, I really appreciate your vulnerability. That's awesome. Thank you. Do you have a thought that says, I'm afraid of opening myself up to dating again? Is that the thought? I'm going to put, what we do is we look for something called a negative automatic thought, okay? This is the thought that just comes out of nowhere, and it says, let's say for an example, I don't want to date again. I don't want to get close to men. Thank you. Okay. I don't want to get close to men. This is your automatic negative thought, okay? You don't have to think about it. It just comes up, and you know where that's coming from, right? That's coming from subpsyche, okay? And that can go all the way back to childhood experiences, adolescence, and then your personal experiences. And it's just that it's too painful to go through this one more time. I don't want to get hurt anymore. So your subconscious has built walls around you to protect you, okay? And it might feel like it's protecting you, but it's really isolating you. And it's a catch-22 because you don't want to get hurt again, but you're isolated. So so let's go with, I don't want to open up to men again. Okay. So what we want to do with this is we want to uncover beneath the fear, what is the core belief about ourselves that we're holding, okay? And what we do to do this is we use something called a laddering technique. And this reveals whatever core beliefs are under our fear, okay? So it's a really simple technique. And all you're going to do, and all of you can do this with whatever your fear is you go like this. What does this mean about me? What does this mean? Okay? Or alternatively, go like this. What would happen if I do? Okay, for Ursula, I think it's better to go, what would happen if I do? Okay. I do. Okay. Okay, so if you have something like this, I don't want to open up to men again. What we're going to say is, what would happen if I do open up to men again? Okay? And yeah, that is, like Michael said, it's your negative automatic thought. It's a thought that just comes in from some psyche. It has absolutely no conscious awareness. It's not rational, but it does feed the cycle and it perpetuates behaviors that are very destructive, okay? So for Ursula, she says, I don't want to open up to men again. What would it mean if you did? Okay? And let's see. Okay, she doesn't want, okay. So what would that mean? I'm gonna just take a few guesses here. I'm gonna run through what it might look like. What would it mean? What would it mean if I do? I'm gonna go here and say, I could get hurt, okay? So if I opened up to men again, I could get hurt. Get hurt. Now, once you have a sentence like this, an I sentence, right? Then you go, what does that mean about me? Okay. I'm gonna randomly go through what this could mean. Okay. I could get hurt. What does this mean? I would be alone. And then you go again. Keep asking the question. What does this mean? I would be alone. I am worthless. Okay, I'm not saying that's your core belief, but yeah, this is kind of how you use the technique. Okay? So this is what we call a negative core belief. Okay? This is what's awesome, Asad. Thank you so much for sharing with us. This is what was learned at some point in your life, and negative core beliefs are the ways we feel about ourselves at our depths, and then it kind of fountains into all kinds of effects we see in our lives. But if we have a negative belief like this, I am worthless, I am a failure, I am unlovable. Okay, these are your negative core beliefs. What this is it's part of what we call your, as we said, cognitive template. This is your map of reality. Okay? If this is your map of reality and we have core beliefs that's underpinning your map of reality, you will have some good moments, and you will persevere through your strength, and of course you'll try your best to create a life in many ways that doesn't reflect this, okay? Because you have other associations about yourself that are good, that you've learned, okay? And then there's things you like determination and you know, and love and kindness. You've learned those things, but possibly in relationships, if you hold a belief, I am worthless, I am unlovable, what happens is we attract partners that can only reflect this belief back to us, okay? And once we attract that partner, we get into the cycle of completely trying to change the partner, make them love us, make them value us, make them accept us. And that is that's the flaw, because it's impossible, because your negative core belief is projecting a partner, okay? So the good news is, you're not those things, okay? There's definitely some deep work we can do, because this is sub-psyche. The sub-psyche will attach to experiences, events, ideas of a time when maybe you felt worthless and you didn't know any better to know that you weren't. You did not know that you are loved and you are complete, okay? You didn't have that wisdom. And that part of you, that aspect of yourself is still in there and is still so hurt. So for this, when it comes to a negative core belief, an exercise I'm going to recommend today is write a letter, okay? it's very, very important once you come to your negative core belief, ask yourself. And then it might not come at first, and there'll be resistance, and no, this is subconscious resistance if it happens. Ask yourself, which part of me feels worthless? What happened? Why? And keep and sit with it. And if it's uncomfortable, sit with it. And then what you're going to do is, when it comes to you, have a paper and pen ready and write a letter from this part of yourself, okay? Ask the question, why do you feel worthless? And then write to yourself. Write all the events, write all the feelings, the emotions, the experiences. Really cultivate a relationship between yourself and this part of you, okay? This is the first part of working with these core beliefs, because a subpsyche is not a rational part of the mind. It's a very, I would say it's irrational. It works through symbols, through creativity, through it's right brain orientated. So you always want to work in that way, almost like you'd work with a child. So write a letter, find out what it is, what are the beliefs, experiences this part of yourself is holding on to, okay? And when that part is done, completely let it go, process it, sit with how you feel at the moment, okay? Meditate, take a couple of breaths, take a walk, and engage with a wiser part of yourself. And all of us have cultivated at some point in our life a part of us that's wise, a part of us that's compassionate. It's the part we bring to other people when they need us most, right? It's that loving kindness that we bring. We need to bring that to ourselves. So when you can get into that feeling, like you coming to a friend that really needs you, what you do is go back and write a letter to that part of yourself, okay? And help them understand how loved they are, and that they're not worthless, and there's nothing they could ever do to reduce their value. But this is a very personal experience, and only you can truly get into it, and only you truly will understand. But when you're working with subpsyche, this is it. It's a process, and it's a consistent process, and it can be frustrating, but it's also so beautifully healing that when it happens, when you connect, you will notice the ripple effects in your life. You will notice your relationships transform. You will notice your relationship with yourself transform. You will notice things that you thought would never change about yourself become completely anew, okay? So I would recommend that right now. Next week, what we'll do is I'll teach you more about how to work with subpsyche personas. And personas is what I talked to you about. It's knowing your roles and your identities, and how these roles and identities shape the way you relate to reality, okay? And we're going to come to know the different roles you play and how those affect the way you are in a relationship, okay? Because you might feel like in relationship you're bringing the solid self, and that's you and that's your identity, but you're not one identity. You're a fractured identity. You're many things, you're many roles, you're many archetypes, and they're all part of your subconscious mind. And many of them have conflicting ideas. So what we want to do is find out what these subconscious roles are that you're playing. We'll call them personas, okay? And we want to give them names and forms, and we really want to get to know your subpsyche so that you can master your subconscious mind. Because if it's not that way, it means that those subconscious roles are mastering you, okay? And then what we want to do eventually is go through the process of transforming them and consciously creating what we want in these roles that we play, okay? So I think that is going to be it for tonight's class. I am so very grateful to everyone that that joined. I'm gonna try and look at the comments right now to see if I can answer anything else. So we have some comments here about not feeling appreciated in the way you want to be. That too, okay? So what we do is when we feel like we're not appreciated, okay? Turn to yourself and say, why do I have the belief that I am not appreciated in a relationship? What is it about me that I believe cannot be appreciated or cannot be loved? Which part of me feels that way? Why am I projecting that outwards? Where did this belief originate from? Okay, so whenever we feel appreciated, look, not appreciated out there, look at yourself. What do I not appreciate and value about myself? What do I not appreciate and value about others? Okay, now there's obviously some part of you that feels that perhaps you're not worthy of that appreciation, okay? And it's just taking a look inside, like I said, and engaging with that part of yourself that feels that way. Also, we have a comment here. Being honest or vulnerable will scare the partner. Okay, so many of us feel this way, that if we're vulnerable, that those parts of ourselves will not be accepted, okay? And now when we talked about a conscious relationship, one of the 5 factors was vulnerability, okay? Bringing all that you are, bringing your shadows, bringing your beauty, bringing everything that's amazing about you to your partner and saying, this is me, okay? This is all I am. And the only way we can do that is when we look at ourselves, we look at our shadows, and we say, I love you for all you are. You're beautiful, you're perfect, you're lovable. Yes, we can work on you. Yes, we can get better, but I accept you, okay? This inner acceptance reflects to the partner, remember. And that partner will then accept and love you because there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing not to love. There's nothing to hide from. Okay, vulnerability is the essence of self-love, and we'll work more on that in weeks to come, but I really appreciate your questions. And thank you so much, you guys. I've just had such an amazing time with you, and this has been great, and your support and you joining me and your comments have been so wonderful. I really appreciate everything you've done. I will put my email out in a post, and if there's anything I can help you with personally, please feel free to email me. And of course, if you'd like to work with me, I love working with people. It's my passion. And then next week, we'll do something different, and we'll work further on what we talked about tonight. And I wish you all a beautiful night, and let's just really pray for all the lives that were lost tonight in Istanbul, and really pray that we can change our relationship with ourselves and the world, and just bring more love to the world we live in. And thank you so much, and good night, you guys.